Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Eeze Experience. Today, I have the opportunity to sit down and talk to an up and coming producer who's probably had the placement of a lifetime this past week. Let's get right to it. T the Human, welcome to the Eeze Experience. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for being available. Before we even get started, man, just tell the people about yourself and what inspired you to get into music.
Um, my name is Taylor from Allentown, Pennsylvania. I started, oh man, when I got a trumpet when I was 7 or 8 years old. So it's been a long time coming. I play in and out of bands. I went to the drum set after that, so I've been in and out of rock bands and stuff like that my whole entire life. Like I'm in my 30s now, but um, that kind of just like transitioned into producing and drums and stuff like that. I've always been a huge fan of drums. So I think around like 19 or 20 after I graduated high school, I just kind of dived into that after listening to a lot of music. And it's been a long road. So it's led me to this crazy opportunity that's been actually in the works for like quite some time now. So it's a blessing to say the least. It really is. It's crazy, man. I would never expect to be where I'm at now, but it's humbling. So just continuing to produce and stuff like that. But it's been about like 10 years now since I've been doing beats.
10 years. Okay. So as far as production goes, for those who are unaware of your music or your discography, how would you consider yourself as a producer? Are you sample based, live instrumentation, check
Uh,
all boxes?
Definitely sample based. That's how I started. I always was fascinated with that. I mean, as well as any like person that's into hip hop, that early stuff, and just I think it's led me to being sample based because I just like listening to a wide range of music. So, and that is hip hop. You know what I mean? So it's like that led me into production this way. But even now and over the years, I'm getting sent a lot of packs from great artists of just like live instruments. So every now and then I'll throw those into. It's like a puzzle, man. So it like I think I love sampling and producing so much is that like the layer aspect to it. So a
Got
lot of times I'll get like live instruments and I'll just lay it under the sample. But overall, man, I'm straight. It's sampling. I'll sample from anything as long as it sounds good. I'm not that guy that's like, oh, I'll strictly do vinyl and stuff like that. It's like,
yeah.
no, I don't care where I get the source from,
Okay.
honestly. Like I've done it live outside, just noises. I've done bands live. It's like it doesn't really matter to me. I see a lot of people talk about like how they're just very strict on like where they get their music from. It's like for me, it's open range, man. So sample based all day for sure.
No doubt. I want to piggyback on something you said maybe about a minute ago. You said sample packs. For people who are unaware of that, you're referring to what, like when a producer creates like stems
Yeah, yeah,
into a pack. Yeah. What
yeah.
does that look like?
It's crazy, man. Because when I first started like producing and stuff like that, you didn't see that often. And now I think it's like another realm that producers can use as like income. I mean, it's great. I should probably think about it. I've had people reach out a bunch of times and say make like a drum pack and stuff like that. I just never really like it was never really my thing. I should do it, but I haven't. But I mean, now it's cool because I reached a certain amount of following. Um, and now I'm grateful enough where I have people that follow me that want me to test out a sample pack, whether that be like drums or guitar melodies. But it's insane, man. Even the big wig guys that I see producing songs are all using these sample packs from like very well known musicians that are just putting out drum packs for everyone. And most of the time, it's royalty free. So it's like you pay the artist, you use their sounds, and I think it's amazing, man. There's a couple people that I follow with their drums where I'm like, this shit is unreal. Like,
Mm.
so a lot of my stuff now comes from certain sample packs. I follow certain guys that I use, but yeah, it's crazy, man. The sample pack game it's hard to keep up with it. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah. And the beauty with that is most people were probably opposed to it early on, but it's like sampling, right? In a sense, in a traditional sense, you
yeah,
could manipulate the sounds any way that you want and make them your own.
yeah. I think you're right though. I think a lot of people at first were like, "What's this?"
Hmm.
Like confused by it because like no one really saw it. But
Yeah.
I mean, like it's just like you said too. It's like it's the same thing as sampling from any other source. They're just giving it to you through a WAV file in your email. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? So I love it, man. I love being able to like interpret things like my own way and flip things. So So my sample pack game has been the last year or two definitely skyrocketed. Before I would probably, I honestly for the first 5 years I probably used the same, 100 sounds for a lot of my drums, and now it's just like you can find such a specific sound for each song because there's so much out there. So
Yes.
it's crazy, man. I mean, that's probably why you see so many producers out there too. It's just like they're given so many tools now. You can like create some magic from your bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's crazy, man. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
for sure. So what is your equipment of choice? Like, are you more of an analog guy? Do you use digital, a combination of both? What do you use now?
Both. Yeah, both. Honestly, I wish I had more analog hardware.
Mhm.
One of my buddies gifted me with a Korg, a mini Korg, but that's a stereo set, so it's like, but it's still like one of the best affordable ones to have. I love it. I use it a lot for like bass and like synth and just like
Mm.
small layers here and there. But overall, man, I mean, I use my machine for everything. The Native Instruments machine. That was the first like sampler I got that I used, the MK2, and now I just use my machine studio. I haven't even gotten the new machine yet. I haven't worked my way up there. So like everything you hear that I do, even the production I did for Ghost and Nas, that was all done in Native Instruments. And then I
Mhm.
just kind of like mix my stuff as I go. But everything primarily besides using my two keyboards is done on machine, man.
Yeah.
But I'm looking just because budget wise, um, I would love to get a Moog or something like that down the road, one of those. But a lot of times I'm using sounds that are inside this machine. So this is my weapon of choice. This is like the heartbeat of like everything I use. So
Now, did you work exclusively within machine, like Native Instruments, or do you like make the beats there and then you send the stems to Ableton Live or Pro Tools? How does that work? What's
yeah,
your
I
workflow?
work straight in machine on my part. Like when
Mhm.
I send it out to whoever else, I mean they can use whatever they want with it. I'm sure they export it
Yeah.
into Pro Tools and stuff like that. I've been in studios where they have done that before, but for me, like I'm not an engineer. So like I do my part up until I can, and
Yeah.
then like whenever it's out of my hands, it's out of my hands. Everything I do, man, is in the machine. A lot. I get asked that a lot. What I use and like how I use the machine for that type of thing. But I follow guys like Knots and like Ninth Wonder and like all those cats, and they're all doing the same type of thing too. It seems like machine, and they're the guys that kind of influenced me to even get one. To be
Mhm.
honest, as soon as I saw those guys, it was like insane. The workflow on this just
Yeah.
works very well for me. The MPC, I know a lot of guys that have that and they love it too, but I think it's a little more time consuming. And I'm like, I got like a ADHD track mind where I'm like, if I'm bored, it's a bad thing. So this keeps me very focused and it's just very hands on for me. So I do everything in this machine studio.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So do you mix your own beats as well? Because I know you mentioned that you send it off to the engineer. Are you referring to once you get some placement, or are you talking about even if you did 10 beats today, do you mix them or do you send them off to an
yeah,
engineer to shop them
um,
afterwards?
right now, I'll mix them myself. Like if I send someone a pack of beats, they'll all get mixed to like my capability. Um,
Gotcha.
but if it's like something like mass appeal type stuff, that's a whole other business that like I'm fairly new to, where that gets then handed over to other people who finance it and stuff like that to the point where like they're just better than me. That's just what they do, and they have the equipment and software to do so and the talent to do so.
Yeah.
So I get it to like the best of my capabilities, and then it gets handed off. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But even if I'm working with like local guys or like not as big people, which is more than I do for anything, which I love. Um, I tell them that straight out. If you want it mixed to my capability, I will do that. If not, by all means, like tweak it yourself. I love leaving it up to them, especially if they could do better than me. If you can make it better than me, it's just like, please do, because
Yeah.
mixing's like a whole other art, man. And it's hard. It really is. And like it's even I went to school for that, at a little community college in my town for a couple of years. And even still, like I think that's why I keep doing what I'm doing is because you just like I learn something new at it every day where I'm like, yo, why was I doing this why was I not doing it this way the entire time? It's nice.
Yeah. So you mentioned mass appeal, right? Please, for those who have not been listening intently, Teething Human has recently got a placement with Ghostface Killah featuring Nas, Scar Tissue off the Set the Tone album. Can you start from the beginning up until the present moment, the process of getting that placement and how things are working themselves out now?
Um, yeah, no, I'm really glad you asked this. This happened to me about a year ago. Um, I got put out a message from Ghostface directly, a private message, just asking about beats and saying like he really liked my sound, and it's perspired since then. I actually just found out about Nas a couple weeks ago. Working with Ghost's manager Wiggs, shout out Wiggs. He's been nothing but great. The entire team has been awesome, very transparent, which is great. The process has been very easy. Even though at first, when you hear about it, you think it's going to be very overwhelming, they made the process very easy. But it's all been direct contact, man. It's crazy because having Ghost's number now and his manager Wiggs and stuff like that, we've just been in constant contact for the past year almost. Um, and it's worked its way where it got picked up. I think in that process, then Ghost, signed his contract, solidified it with Mass Appeal. And I just found out about this like a month ago that this was going to be the single for the record on Mass Appeal. So it's all been if fairly organic. It's nothing like everybody. I see a lot of comments I've been reading that are like, "How did you shop it to them?" I didn't. I didn't shop it to them. They found me. Wiggs Ghost found me and liked my sound, and they have a bunch now. So they picked that beat. He was really feeling it. I mean, to be honest with you, the fact that it became the single is just um, I have no words, man. You know what I mean? I would be doing this regardless if I would ever get a placement. So to get a placement like that is just extremely humbling to me. It's insane because I've been listening to those guys for as long as everybody else has. So it's crazy, but the process is not as hard or long as anyone has thought. Like it's weird, man. My recent calls sometimes are like mom, dad, Ghostface. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. We've been in contact for a year. He's a really cool cat, and I'm grateful he believed in me enough to like put me on, and you know what I mean? Because I've been seeing a lot of like couple people hating on the beat out there, and it's just like music's subjective and stuff like that. But the fact that these guys picked it,
Yes.
you know what I mean? That just says it all for me. You can say whatever you want to me, man. It's not going to bother me or stop me. But like, they also they picked this, so it's just like they liked it, and
Hmm.
the social media is a blessing in disguise when you're a creative. So I tell people all the time, don't ever stop, because there's going to be one time where someone hears just one song that you put out, and they're like, let me talk to this guy, and it's very easy. So it's been super organic. Mass Appeal's been great. It's just, but the process been long. I had to keep my mouth shut since last July, so I only told a couple friends. And at first I was just like,
Wow.
"Is this?" Yeah, I'm like, "Is this real?" You know what I mean? Because you think at first when you get that message, you're like, "Is this like a fake account?" But it's been nothing but love. So you know what I mean. We're in direct contact now. So it's great. It's great. Super organic.
Got you, man. So you said he reached out to you, right? How did he discover you? Was it through your Instagram page, which you have an array of different beats up there? Was it
Yeah.
from a SoundCloud? How did he find you and contact you?
Instagram, direct message. I had a video. Now, listen, I've had my Instagram for probably 10 years. I never used to have it before that. I strictly used it just to like show what I do, just basically set up a camera and just, here's a minute of what I've been doing all day. You know what I mean? Just nothing, like nothing fancy or anything like that. So he direct messaged me, DM'd me on Instagram after one of my videos last year went viral. One of these beats that I put up with another guy on drums, Kelsey, who's crazy dope producer. I put up a video, and then like a week later, I just got my Instagram was just going crazy, man. It was like it was overwhelming. Just a lot of messages, a lot of views, crazy. It like hit like 10,000 in like a week of like I was just like, okay, this is crazy. And then next thing I know, I'm getting hit up by a couple big wigs. So that perspired into this. You know, I mean, he just kept sending me ideas, I like this beat, shoot me this beat over. I like this beat, shoot me this beat over. And in my head, I'm like, all right, he must be just, building up for something.
Mm.
But it all started from there. So it was like there. And then, I knew it was a real thing when I started directly talking to him, on the phone, like chatting. He was a busy guy because at the time he was on that tour with Nas. Um,
New York State of Mind, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the tour. Yeah. So he was on it for them. So we were just flipping flop. Whenever he was back in New York, he'd call me, send me some beats, blah, blah, blah. Send me, oh, I like this one on my page. So that's getting back to what I'm saying before. It's like I tell just post what you want on your page because you never know like who's gonna like it. Like do not think twice about like if who cares if people like it or not. There's gonna be someone out there that's just like, I mess with this guy, I like him. So and that's all that happened, man. And my Instagram blew up, and then I started getting messages from like big guys because I think my reach just went further. So I was just like,
Gotcha.
it was just like my brother was saying to me, it's like there was this like glass ceiling over my head for a very long time, and I finally like cracked it a little bit. So that's how it happened. Nothing like crazy.
Yeah, just putting in the work, right? 10,000 hours. So when you create a beat, right, or anything, instrumental, drum pattern, are you gearing each beat towards a specific artist, or do you create what T the Human likes, and then that artist comes along and says that works for me?
Yeah, the second option.
Second one, yeah,
I don't ever like. I'm even still now. I'm not even going to be thinking about like, oh, will Ghost or Nas like this? I write what I like at the moment, and then I move on. It's I think that's what keeps me hungry. I'm just like never satisfied. So I'll write a beat and then I'm immediately like, shit, man, I gotta do something better than that. And it's not even like it was bad. It's just like it's just I don't know. But I think if I wrote with a specific artist in mind, I think that would like put a cap on my creativity. So I don't focus on that. I just write whatever comes to mind, whatever sample I find that I'm messing with. And a lot of times I'll just put it out there. I almost use my Instagram as like a store. I'm not on BeatStars or anything like that, even though I should. I kind of use my Instagram as like a catalog. You could flip through it if you like it. I could care less about the views or the likes. I literally put it up there for an artist who's looking for beats like mine. Here's a video of me playing that beat for a minute. Let me know if you want it. I'm not saying that's the best business model to go off of. I probably should have like a website or a store. I used to, but no, every single beat I write, man, it's just like in the moment, how I'm feeling and just like, my emotions for the day. And then that's it. I don't think about any artist at all.
yeah. So outside of listening and hearing different things, that's probably your main or the biggest attribute, right? But what role does time management play in your job as a producer? Like, how does it work from beginning to end of your day? When do you begin working on your music, and what's the
That's
process?
no, that's a great question. I love that question because it's all about balance. I work a full-time job. I mean, I work at a school, I work in special ed. So it's like, um, it's a lot. It's a very exhausting some days. I mean, I get home, the hours are great. I mean, I think that's why
Yeah.
I keep this going is because I can make it work with the hours. But um, it's like you said before, man. I believe in that 10,000 hour rule. I get out of work every day, and then I sit down and I do this almost every single day. So it's just like even if it's just an hour or 2 hours, I feel strange if I don't. Um, I don't feel like I'm living up to my accomplishment. I'm very hard on myself. So it's time management is huge for me because if you want something, um, you got to give it that time. If it means that much to you, you have to give it that time because if you don't, you're never gonna know if you can reach your full potential with it or not. And it's a huge thing because I think a lot of times people are just they're tired, but you just got to keep putting that work. It's just every single day I would get off here and I would just head into here because I think it just also made me happy. You know what I mean? I don't like being bored either. So like when I first started this, it was a way for me to like, optimize my time. It was just like a productive way of doing things, like spending my time. I'm like, I shut off a couple people in my life. I mean, I had to focus on things. Not going out. Even early 20s. I mean, it's just what you got to do. And it's crazy because like you always like see these like videos of celebrities talking about this, and like you're like, no, like it's not like that. But it really is. Like if you stem away from things that are negative to you and you focus on something that you truly believe that you can do, there's really no stopping you. I mean, you don't know when it's going to happen. Like I said to people all the time, this is 10 years in the making for me. You know what I mean? And it happened to be these two on a placement. So it just, you have to be okay with like being not okay for a while and just like focus on your craft. So, but the big thing of it is time management. I mean, put in the time and like see what happens. If it doesn't work and you tried, then at least you can say you tried. But if you're just like lackadaisical with it and being lazy with it, it's just like it's never gonna happen. So
Yeah. Now, as far as the time management, piggyback off that, do you kind of batch record in a sense because you have a 9 to 5? Do you find a bunch of samples and a bunch of drums, and then probably on a Saturday morning you put it all together, or are you making one beat at a time?
you know, it's usually one beat at a time.
Okay.
Like, I'm not that guy that's like, oh, I made 10 beats today. Because like in my head, I'm like, yo, how did you make 10 beats today?
Hmm.
And like if you did, like please let me hear them because like I don't understand how that's even possible. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? For me, it's just like I sit down, scratch. You know what I mean? Nothing on the table at all. I sit down, either if it's from going out to a store and digging, or the channels that I follow and stuff like that, or if it's people like sending me stuff, I just listen to it brand new every single day. There's nothing that I set. There's no like things I go back to. I just start from scratch every single time, and
Mm.
that's just how I've always been. I don't know. I think it's like especially when I'm digging online for stuff or like digging for new records. It's brand new to me most of the time. Like when I go digging at stores, I don't even look for people I know. Um, I think now I'm just like I'm looking for like the craziest cover I see or just like the artwork, and then I'll just pick it up and grab it. You know, what I mean, I head to that dollar bin section and I just pick up stuff that I've never even seen, and that's just the truth. I don't if it looks crazy to me. Sometimes a lot of people can tell, you know, wow, this cover's amazing. There's got to be some gold in here. And then I'll just it'll be the first time. Every single time I make a beat, there's nothing pre-existing with that. It all starts like right at that moment.
Yeah. Now, just to make sure that I'm correct, the Nas, well, Ghostface and Nas record is your first major placement, right?
It is, yeah, yeah,
Okay. So we mentioned that you were discovered on Instagram, but prior to that, you put out music, instrumental beat tapes, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
what role did that play in your confidence, I should say, right? Because it's not like you sat on a bunch of beats. You put them out to the world, right?
yeah.
And you believed in yourself. So did you think that played a role in where you are today, or it's just part of the process?
Uh, it definitely played a role. At the time, like I just wanted to show people that like I was doing it and can do it, but it took a long time for me to get confident enough in myself to even like put stuff out, man. Like I like even when I would put it out, I'd like even like I don't erase anything on my SoundCloud or my Instagram. Like I want to see like the progression here. Like you sucked before, like it's just you were not good, and it took me a while. Even my first tapes, man. When I listen to it now, I'm like, man, what are you thinking? Uh, but it brought a sense of confidence in me that like people will listen. You know, you have that sound, you're close to it, and I think it led enough to me where I was confident enough to reach out to artists and be like, I really like your sound. I think we would mold well together. Because nowadays I'm not even really messing with beat tapes anymore. Like it takes a lot for people to listen to an instrumental tape without vocals. You know what I mean? It takes a certain type of listener. You know, I mean, you're not gonna find that reach with an instrumental tape. I love instrumental tapes. I listen to them all the time. But currently in my life, like I haven't put one out in about a year or two. Um, just because I'm not on that track. I kind of want to just build now with artists that I like and just build around their sound. And I'm super picky about who I work with. I'm not just throwing people beats for money. Like I want to actually genuinely like you, and like I want to see what you can do. You know what I mean? I don't mind sitting in the shadows and just like you can use my work, and I want to see how well you do on it because like I just believe in them. So I think putting out all those tapes that I have led me to this point where I'm like, all right, this is written now for the artist. Like I always every single thing I do, I think I write a beat for an artist. Like I always like leave that extra space for vocals. Like I'm not just writing beats now for beat tapes, you know what I mean, just to put out. So it led me up to like having enough confidence in myself to like have another artist on top. It's not just me now. Like someone
Got
else is relying on my music now. So yeah, that's a great question because I'm like, that's what started it all for me was putting out
mhm,
those beat tapes.
yeah. You also mentioned just now that you're kind of picky about who you work with, or so people always speak about having a 9 to 5, right? And how it kind of can take away from your dream in the sense that you don't have enough time, which we spoke about. But
Yeah.
what are the benefits of having a job where you don't solely rely on music and you can actually say that I'm going to be picky with this one because this isn't my sole source of income?
Um, yeah, health insurance. No, that's it. It's I think and my brother and I had this conversation when everything was going down this year, and he said it to me too because I always thought, you know, I hope one day I can do this full time. And he said to me, he's like, "Would you like it as much as you do now if you did it full time?"
Wow.
And I honestly had to sit back and think to myself, like, I don't know if I would. You know what I mean? I go to school, I help these kids out, and when I get home, I have the urge to write. You know what I mean? Like because I only have that limited amount of time. Like it gives me, I really get excited to come home and write because I only have that time to do so. And I feel like if I was given all the time in the world to it, I don't know if I would put my all into it. I don't know if it would have, the feeling that it gives me, because I'm super passionate about it. And I think that's because I'm limited in the time that I can to give to it. So I devote myself to it after work and it's great. The balance, and that's another thing with balance. Like, I have this job, it's completely separate than this. You know what I mean? If I was strictly relying on music right now, I probably would just be throwing out beats to everybody and like doing their thing. But like that's just not in the cards for me. I think it would be like kind of like selling out a little bit. It's just like
Mhm.
you're like, why would you do that? Just to make a buck. So I think it's a good thing for me right now to have that, work life balance and music balance. And like, who knows? Like one day maybe I'll be able to do this full time. But like, would I like it as much as I do now because I have that other, you know, the work 9 to 5 in my life? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. But
Wow. So you stated that this has been 10 years in the making and you waited probably a year and some change to for this to come to fruition, that placement, right? So where do you see yourself in the next year or so? What are
um,
your plans? What are you trying to get into
listen,
musically?
listen. I hope I'm on Supreme Clientele too. The
Yeah,
last
yeah.
because it was funny. He's been talking about that, and then I've seen a lot of comments about like, "Yo, drop Supreme Clientele too." And then at the end of the album, he brings it up that he's
Mhm.
gonna be dropping it. So, um, this is just the beginning for me, man. This I don't even want to peak yet. This isn't even the peak for me. So I just want to keep my head down and just remain focused. I just want to keep getting placements too. I want to get on a platform where I think I'm needed and the sound that I have is wanted. I want to work with guys that like I admire, and it doesn't matter the following, you know what I mean? The placement, the size of your following doesn't really matter to me. Just I want to work with artists that um, are as passionate about their craft as I am. So if this leads me into something like more, which I'm hoping it does, that's great. You know what I mean? More opportunities to work with more artists, ones I haven't heard, ones I have heard. You know what I mean? Just keep this show going for as long as I possibly can. It's been having people like you like react to it and putting it out and just seeing the reaction, which is honestly mostly good. It's been mostly good. You know what I mean? There's always the sticklers, but like it's music subjective. I don't want everyone to even like my stuff, to be honest with you. I don't think it's for everybody. So like it's okay if you don't like my stuff. You are not gonna stop me from doing what I like to do. I could care less if you like it or not. You know what I mean? So this is just this has also boosted my confidence right now where I'm like, I put out that record with those legends. I just want to keep being consistent. I mean, you did that record. Let's keep it rolling. I just want to get better and better, man. So for the next year or so, I'm hoping just putting out more albums with people, more singles, just placements, just honing in my craft more and more, and just being. I want to just be the best I could possibly be at it.
Yeah. So for the producers in your position, you mentioned you want to be consistent. Now, what role does relationships play in being consistent? Because you can be the world's greatest beat maker or producer, but without the relationships, how far could one's career actually go? So could you please speak about the relationships that you've garnered since linking up with Nas or Ghostface and how that's aiding your career or
Um,
helping you out?
it's. I mean, I think it helps a lot to me in a business aspect. Like
Hmm.
learn a lot about it through their eyes because to me, I'm just this. I'm just this guy sitting in a studio in his two-bedroom apartment. You know what I mean? I'm just the normal Joe Schmo just making beats. So I learned a lot about the business side of things, um, and more so too, like just patience, man. Um, Wade's talked to me, his manager, about just like how I was handling all these things. Like I was just playing my role. You know what I mean? I was just waiting for things to happen. I wasn't pushy. Um, Things kind of just all fell into fruition organically. It just all happened on its own, and now it's led me now to like, I'm working on having a manager. Have my friend Drama, who's been in the business for a long time, is now helping me out. So it's everything's. I think it's good that people in this business, and I have a hard time trusting people. People are a lot very shady nowadays. So for me, it's just like I keep people at an arm's length for a while until I know that they're good. So it's led me into having very good relationships with especially Ghost and his team, and even Mass Appeal, and now even my own people. So this is this has brought on a lot. But I'll tell you what, man, the business side of it, contracts and all that, it's different when you're like when you finally get all this like paperwork over something that you wrote. You know what I mean? Normally every day on your desk, it's crazy. It's eye opening for sure. So I mean, I'm hoping to learn more and more about that, and like knowing like my lane and what to do and what not to do with certain things. So it's been a learning process, but relationships with the right people are everything. So
What is your lane musically? You consider yourself solely a hip hop producer? Do you want to get into R&B, a little bit of jazz?
you know what? Definitely, I obviously hip hop for sure. That's just what I like to do. I think it's because it all just stems from drums. Like I'm just big on drums. So but I would love to dive into R&B. I've always loved R&B, so I would love to work with any R&B artist. That would be fantastic. But I think I'm a huge prog rock sample guy. I love listening to that type of stuff. So I wouldn't mind with working just with singers down the road. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, like yeah, like my beats are focused on hip hop, but I could think they could be used in a couple genres.
Mhm.
So we'll see. I definitely am just sticking to my lane hip hop wise. I mean, I know a lot of people that are like, oh, you only do that, you only do that. But it's like, yeah, but I want to master it. You know what I mean? I want to master like the sound that I want. Like this is the sound that I have. And like I want people to come to me for that sound. It's like, oh yeah, I want a specific record, this is who I want to go to. I know he has that kind of sound. Like I don't need to be like, yo, I write pop, I write all this stuff. It's like I don't. You know what I mean? It's just not who I am. Like I write hip hop beats. If you want my style, like that's basically all I do. But I
Mm.
would love to like I love that smooth, soulful stuff. So I would love to work with R&B artists in the future.
Who are your top 5 producers that shaped your career as a
Oof.
listener?
Just as a listener,
Yeah, just
stuff, man. I say it all the time. I mean, Alchemist, big inspiration of mine. I would love to just pick his brain for a little bit. I think more so because of his work ethic. It's like insane. He's one for me, dude. Early Kanye. Um, I mean, it's crazy that Ye's on this album that I was just on, but I mean, he gets a lot of hate now, understandably so. But uh, his first couple albums, man, like I don't even care about his personal stuff, dude. He's got to be one of the best sample based producers in general. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like I remember hearing College Dropout and I lost my damn mind. You know what I mean? Like that stuff was like I was like, this is insane, man. This guy's doing this on an MPC, like crazy. His stuff with Hove and everything like that. So he's up there for me, like
Absolutely.
for sure, absolutely. Premier, huge Gangstar fan, so that started for me too. I can't even. He's the goat. I don't think boom bap wise you're getting anyone better than that.
Mm.
It's just like impossible to me. He's got that sound. He's one of those ones too. Like you know it's Premier beat when you hear it. It's with those drums. It's just the chops of the samples, the layering. It's just I know right away. He's another one for me. Pete Rock.
All right.
He's another big one for me. You can't deny him. Soul Brother. So it's just the way he samples. He'll sample from anything. You know what I mean? You hear like Led Zeppelin drums on some of his beats, and you're like, geez, like that's the creativity that he has is insane. It's very admirable. I love it. Um, Fifth one, man, it's tough. Uh, I got to think about this a little bit. I love the guys in the Soul Council, like Ninth Wonder and,
Crisis. Yeah.
and Crisis. Like I don't this swing on their drums, man. The whole clan they got there
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah.
Everyone I listen to, especially Knots. I think I heard Knots around the time that I heard Ninth Wonder long time ago, not realizing like how long he's been in the game. I'm not gonna act like I didn't know about his early like stuff with Busta Rhymes and stuff. Like his bass lines and his drum and the way he does his things, like I mean, it like hurts my face when I hear his beat.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I could go on. If I thought about it, I could name 10 or 20 guys where
Yeah. Yeah.
these are the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You kind of segue me to the next top five, which is bass lines. Obviously, Not's going to be in there, right? So you can give me four more when it comes to bass lines and production.
Oof.
Top five producers.
Hip hop wise,
Any genre doesn't matter. It's like yeah,
bass
whatever you hear. Yeah.
that's tough. That's tough. I mean, I love stuff that Rick Rubin's done. Obviously,
Hmm.
right? Quincy Jones, crazy. A lot of records of him when I'm listening. Like the instrumentation on some of that stuff is just insane. I mean, way above my caliber. I don't,
Yeah.
deserve everything that you have. Hip hop wise, another one. Like I love Apollo Brown. I think his like simplicity and his bass lines that he uses. Yeah, I don't know. The space he leaves for artists are crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just that's what I'm looking for, man. For me, it's like simplicity is key. Not trying to crowd anything. So the way he does things, his low end and the way it hits on that side chain on that kick is unbelievable to me. And I don't know if I'm quickly thinking about it, Dre's got some cool bass lines too. I mean, I'm never gonna hate on Dr. Dre. I love the first two albums he has and all the work that he's done. Um, I don't think I'll ever be able to get my mix as clean as him, but he's got some funky bass lines. So those are my quick ones just now.
Yeah. All right. All right. Top five. Well, not top five. Just give me five. When you think of production, five creative producers in the sense of like creating an album, putting together an entire album.
Oh shit, I don't even know if I could do five.
Three is fine. Three is fine.
I gotta think of tough. Alchemist,
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt. I think he would be like. I think I'd name him 5 times, honestly, just because he's someone I look up to in the sense of like I feel like his beats are made for the artist itself. I don't think they would work for other artists. I think he hones in on the sound he has with people, and that probably stems from like having them come to the studio and working hands on,
Yeah.
which is something that I really really want to do, and I'm hoping that happens to me in the future where I can step into a studio and actually work hand in hand with an artist. Um, but full album wise, I love Muggs too. Um, DJ Muggs crazy. I mean his dark drums, everything like that is insane to me. I love it. Um album wise.
Yeah, that's two from the Soul Assassins. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I love everything about that sound. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what it is. The grittiness to it. I'm all about it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Um Ninth is good too. Like I love Ninth on his albums that he does too. He's been like when I first started listening to Ninth Wonder, like him and Murs and what's he on that shot with he's got a couple albums he has that he does full production on, which is amazing. Um, yeah, and probably like full. It's the ones that do full albums. Dre's another one where he does full albums where it's insane. Um, those are probably my ones right now. I got to think about that. That's a tough one.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a tough one.
Now I often speak about like sequencing when it comes to like albums and the big role that it plays. As a producer, you only get one placement at a time, right? But do you feel as though it could have a negative effect on the production that you do if that particular beat that they use is not sequenced correctly on the track list? Because even if you listen to Scar Tissue, right? For those who, if you have someone who talking negatively of it, right? The way it's positioned on the album works perfectly. Now you get to understand the science behind it, as opposed to just having it as a one-off.
Yeah, you mean like where it's placed, like the number? I think it's 4 or 5
Yes,
on there.
yes.
Um,
Like which song it comes before and which song is after it.
yeah, no, I love that, man. One of my friends hit me up yesterday and said the same thing. They're like, "Yo, you're perfect. You're placed perfectly on this album."
Mhm.
And like, I never really thought about it like that. But I guess it's like I was a stickler about that when I was younger, burning CDs and having that mix perfectly. You know what I mean? Like one song ending and leading up to another song fluently.
Mhm.
So I think the mix, especially to get people to listen to the whole album, I think the sequence of it is like huge. Um, or else it throws people off. I mean, you're basically like it's like a story. You know, the whole thing's a story in a book. It's just in music form. So you want it to flow page by page like perfectly. So I think the sequence of where they placed my beat on the album was nice, man. Having it like in the middle, right before the middle of it, huge.
Mhm.
Plays a huge role in I think every album that I listen to. You know what I mean? Because when I start something new, I mean, I don't know about you, a new album comes out, I don't skip tracks. Like I will listen to that album from the first song to the last song just to see how it flows.
Mhm.
So I think that's a huge part, man. Super, super crucial.
Yeah. So for producers who are listening, and as a up and coming producer who's making his strides, what would be one, give me two pieces of advice that you would give someone on a Saturday morning who's grinding?
Um, don't ever stop. Don't give up. If you give up, like you're never gonna see it happen. Um, and also don't force it. I thought for a long time I had to like I have to do this. I have to put out like 5 beats a day, and stuff like that. It's just if it feels right, do it. If you're feeling in a bad mood and you're forcing things, like that's not what it's all about. Um, as soon as it becomes where it's not fun anymore, you are doing it for the wrong reasons. Um,
Mhm.
I would take a step back and reevaluate some things because like it's you started it because you love doing it. And if you keep that mindset throughout the entire process, even to where I'm at, um, it'll take you far and it'll keep you if you're happy and you're feeling good, your music will reflect in that. I can tell you right now, honestly, there was never one time where I was like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, sure, I took like little breaks here and there, a couple days, go on vacation with the family, blah, blah, blah. But like, never once was I like, I don't like this anymore. I'm going to stop. Because like, at the end of the day, I'm doing it for me. Like, it made me happy. I like it. And it's very healthy for me. You know what I mean? So just if you like it enough, as much as you think you do, give it the time that it deserves. Um, because it could take you places that you never thought were possible. But there's a difference between a hobby and like taking it to the next level. You have to treat it accordingly. Um, but it's focus, man. Put the time in that it deserves. I think anyone can be good at anything if they put 10,000 hours into it. What I mean? I tell people this all the time. Uh, I've been doing it every day for like a decade. So, I mean, there were times I even brought it on vacation. So it's just like, I mean, at any time I could get a chance just to write or just listen, anything and just to work on my craft, it was every day. And to me personally, I don't even think I'm even close to where I'm at yet. You know what I mean? Every time I listen to something, I'm like, I could do better. Let's level up. So stay hungry and humble because there's always another cat out there that's better than you. So like, keep your head down and focus on what you want to do. And, you know, your shit's not the best. So just stay in your lane, focus on yourself, and just like don't listen to that noise out there because there's always going to be people out there that'll tell you you can't do it. It's happened to me personally.
Mm.
And I'm sure it happens to every single artist. You know what I mean? Why waste your time? Why waste your time? Well, exclude that entirely. And if it makes you happy, yeah, don't ever stop.
One final question: what has been the biggest hurdle in your production career, and how have you gotten over that hurdle to the position you are now?
Biggest hurdle. Um, Ambition, man. Just having the desire and stuff to keep going. Um, I had to like ingrain that in me, honestly. Besides writing bass lines, musically, that's another tricky one for me. But like in a more serious note, I think having the will and desire to keep going after this long, not focusing my time on something else. That was a hard thing for me, man. That was a hurdle that I had to really, really it took a lot for me to jump over. Even though I never showed it, it was hard for me to teach that to myself. Like I always believed in myself. Once I started this, I was like, wow, this is coming pretty naturally to you. And I love doing it. And I truly, truly believe that one day I could do something with it. I was like, you know what, I know I can. Like if I just don't ever stop. But having that mindset to never stop, um, it's tough. It's tough, and because life gets in the way, man. It's hard to live nowadays. You know what I mean? It's hard for everybody. So
Mm.
to focus on this and to do this with everything else going on in life, I think it brings it back to the question that you said, that whole work life balance, time management. That's huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely huge to to dedicate so much time to one thing just because you know what you're capable of. It's a hurdle, man. I mean, I gave up a lot of things. I didn't do a lot of things because I wanted to focus so much on this, and that can be good or bad. But if you believe in yourself hard enough, like chances of you doing something with it are pretty high. But you got to keep that in your mind too. That it's like it may not happen that way. So it's just you got to do it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? So it's a big hurdle, man. It's a big hurdle. Time management and just like continuously believing in yourself is like it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, you indeed got over that hurdle, man. I want to say congratulations again on that major placement.
Yeah, no,
Ghostface and Nas, man. Scar Tissue or the Set the Tone album. Man, tell the people where they can find you on social media. Let them know. T the
I
Human.
I am everywhere, man. My IG you can use to shop some stuff or just listen to all my beats. Posted a lot of stuff with the Ghost and Nas Face track. It's at T underscore the human. Um, just type in T the human, you'll find me on there. That's the big one for me. And then there's a link that leads to everything. I still have a SoundCloud. I got a Bandcamp. I love Bandcamp and I love SoundCloud. I really do. It's free for people to listen to. Bandcamp's great. I have a Spotify. Everything is just T the Human. You'll find me YouTube, all the works, Apple Music, everything. Just type the name and I'm there.
You heard the man. Click on those links. Support him, man. Up and coming, man. Dreams coming to fruition. He deserves it, man.
I
T the Human,
appreciate you.
once again, thanks for your time,
Yo,
man.
Eeze.